Hello, my fellow board gamers. Today I bring you a run through of Power Grid Factory Manager. We can see the designer at the top here, and it's brought to us by these guys at the bottom. Now, if you're after a shorter insight on this one, check out my overview I brought you guys last week. Now, this one has a 2 to 5 player count. It's that medium complexity, and it says it plays in about 60 minutes. I think you can just about get it in 60 minutes, maybe a tad over. And in this game, we are entrepreneurs running our factories. We'll be having machines, we'll be having pallets of storage, and as we produce from these machines and hopefully acquire robots from this market, additional storage, maybe some extra funky buildings or funky equipment and rooms in our control panel up here for more optimization. We'll be attempting to produce more, store more, and then, well, I guess theoretically sell it for cash, and in the hope of limiting our expenditure on energy. And your energy is kind of tracked up on here, and as you go throughout the 5 rounds, energy prices will definitely go up in some form or manner. And you got your cash here. Now today is just myself as usual playing 2-player game. We've got the yellows and the reds, and we've got some money to start off with. 18 electro it's called. We've also distributed these starting player tokens. You got a 2 and a 10. Now, interestingly, they vary from the player count, and you can see the lower you go, you actually get discounts, so -4 when you purchase stuff from the market, or even some extra workers that are up here as well. Now, I'm going to dive straight in then. The first sort of phase we go through is actually the auction, and this is for player order. So the player with the highest number will go first, and we'll reveal 2 from the top here. So we've got a 6 and an 8, and they will be bidding in workers. So they've got 3 available workers here, red, and they've got 4 in the canteen, which are currently working on the machines in their factory. And you could potentially get these 2 as well. Now, why are these 4 in your factory? Well, if you actually look at the tiles here, you can see anything in green is a good thing, and anything in red is something at a cost. So it's producing 1 good, it's costing you 2 men that need to work on this, or 2 people, and it's having a requirement of 2 energy. So we've got 2 machines, so that's 4 people in there for that, and we're on 4 energy, and we're currently potentially producing 2 goods. So you can see that starts on number 2, and we've got 3 of these storage pallets that are put us on number 3. So they are bidding on these. Now, it's a bit odd. You're not bidding with money, you're actually bidding with workers. Now, let's just say these are kind of similar, 6 and an 8, but this one's obviously going to get the player, whoever wins that, to go first. And you can see that there's actually discounts as well. So let's just say this player, they can bid 0 if they want. So they go for this one here, and they go, right, I want to bid on this, but I'm not bidding any workers. It then passes around, and it's 2-player game, so there's not exactly loads of bidding going on. And these guys are like, you know what, you can have it, because I'm quite happy with this number 8, and I still get a reasonable discount. But if this player really wanted to go first, they might be like, okay, I'm going to have to up the bid. So they're available workers, like, right, I'll bid 1 worker. These guys, ludicrously, they'd never do it, but they'd go, right, 2. But that's how you do the bidding, or you could pass. And once you pass, you can't go back in. And equally, in a bigger player game, you can only ever win 1 of these, obviously. So if you're last and you never manage to win anything, you just get it for free. And there's also, you could decide to put workers on here. So say this player's won it, and then it's over to reds. They might decide to actually want to bid workers on, because the number of available workers determines in the next phase how many of these tiles come out in the preparation phase of the market. So where were we? No one actually bid on it. I think reds went for this one, and they bid, or was it that one? Yeah, they went for 0. So they win that. These go back, your existing ones. That's just kind of to start the game. And that is your player order for the rest of the first round. And the first player, number 6, the lowest number, will be going first. We now move into the preparation of the market. So looking at the board here, you've got a load of machines, You've got robots in red, robots in yellow, loads of storage. You've got which ones are these? Control panel, are they? Yeah, control panel and optimization, and they kind of go at the top here. So looking at your factory then, you've got 10 spaces. You can store any combination of machines, robots and storage in there. If you need these 2 extra spots, you can pay the 10 electro for each one you've got. And if you ever want to get rid of a building, you've already paid the cost, so you can put something else there to replace it. And just at the top here, you've got your kind of control panel, and you've got your optimization, which you have to have the exact same symbol. So you can see that symbol there, and then this little electric one here. So there's only 2 spots for there. Now, prepping the market then. So we've got 3 available workers each, and the red players at first because they got the lower number, and they have to pick from these columns. Well, they're going to have to pick 3 tiles. And what we're going to go for, so looking at now this game is all about optimization. So we're thinking, now I should add, we've got these 3 tiles out here, which on the back you start the game with. There's 6 in the game, and you shuffle them and you draw out 3 X's. So they start the game. Once they're gone, they're gone. Let's not think too much about it. So red's going to bring out this one, and they're going to go for this one and this one. Over to the next player. So they have to take from these columns. Now you could go 1, 2. You could go from the same column, but you do have to take the lowest value. You can see they go up in value, and you can't just take wherever. You have to work your way up. And they've got 1 more because they've got 3 available workers, so they have to take 3 tiles out. Let's just say they go for this one here. So this now is our available market to be purchasing those tiles. Now, interestingly, this player went last, and they've actually brought out some of the better tiles, and this player will be first dibs on purchasing these, depending on how many available workers they've got. So we are now entering the buying and placing factory tiles, or you can tear down tiles or hire seasonal workers at the very end, and I'll kind of demonstrate what each one does. So this player, 3 available workers, they can buy 3 things. Now we're looking at our factory, when you think, right, we want to get better. We want to have potentially less people in the canteen to bring them into our available pot on the next round to give us more potential. Now this machine here, well, let's look at this one. It's going to increase our production. It's going to cost us a work, and it's going to have an energy cost of 1. This one, which is slightly cheaper, it's going to produce 2, but it's going to need 3 workers, so very costly. Maybe we want a robot to kind of optimize our machines. Now, interestingly, you can have 1 robot per machine. And if you do decide to have more robots, you're going to have to sort of nullify them for that round, because you can only have 1 per machine you own. You can have more, as I say, and it might be a strategy to get them while they're there and put them on, but you can't actually have the benefits, and equally you don't pay the costs. You can also have them on the side of your map, your factory, so you can bring them on at a later round as well, which is something you might want to think about. So I'm not going to think too hard here. These guys are going to go for this number 6, so they'd pay their 6 money to the bank. Now they'd put this anywhere on their factory, put their available worker on it to show they've used it, and we'll do the figuring out of stuff after. But you can see it's going to actually draw back 1 worker, so we're going to have to take 1 worker from the canteen, and it's going to use 1 energy. And you can see that little cog represents it's a robot. And they carry on. They actually do all their actions before the other player. Now, they've only got limited money. They got, 18 to start off with. And how much did we spend on that? 6. We should have spent a little bit more there. 18, that's 12 they should have. Oh, that's why I put a 1 there. Okay, so we're back on track. 12 to spend, then there's not really a lot. Maybe they want to go for this other robot? Yeah, we're going to go for this other robot. So we got 2 machines, and we can have 2 robots. Pay 10 for that one. And they've only got $2 left. Now they could tear down, which could be an option actually. So probably not the best, because we've only got, we haven't actually gained any production for strain. We've got this free. Oh, we can't even afford that. Okay, so that they've literally exhausted their options there. What they could do now is they could tear down one of these machines, or basically anything. And how you do that is you take the tile off the board, you put your worker on it to show you've torn that down, and that'll become available at the end of the round, and you've made an extra space there, which is how you're going to optimize it and put better things in there. But do I want to do that? Well, not really, because I want to keep my production up. and not production, my storage. Do I really want to get rid of one of these machines? Probably not just yet. So I haven't really got a use for this, man. So it happens sometimes. The other thing you can do at the end of your term when you've used all your workers, you could pay 7. Oh, you know what I have not done? I've not been taking these discounts of -2. Right, so what did I buy? I bought this and this, so I'm going to get $4 for having had the discounts. That is massive. Okay, so I now have $6 to spend. And equally, so where I was alluding to was at the end of your available workers, you could pay to hire these seasonal workers. So there's 2, and then they've got slightly longer arms, and you bring them into play, and they cost 7 electro for each one. And you also apply this discount, so it only cost me 5 to get this extra worker. Now, obviously, you only do it at the end of having used your available workers, so you can't use it straight away. But throughout, from now onwards, into the next round, that will be available. Can do exactly the same as what this worker does. He can go in your canteen, he can be available, he can just do everything this normal worker could do, but you then have to pay each round after level 3, I think it is. You have to pay that cost again to keep that seasonal worker. Now, do I want to pay for that seasonal worker, or do I actually? I've got the money now to be able to do something else, and I think I will. I think I'm going to go for. Now, I kind of need to boost my production up, and I'll show you why in a second, but I've only got 6 to spend. Let's go for this little one. Probably not the most efficient because it's going to use 2 workers, but I have gained some workers through my robot. So let's put that there. This worker shows I've done that, and we have spent... Oh, actually, it's a discount of 2, so I've only spent $1. Now, I've used all my available workers. I have $5 left, and I'm going to hire a seasonal worker. So it usually costs 7, discount of 2, so I spent all my money there, and that'll be coming into use on the next round. So over to yellows then. What are they thinking? They've being second is cost them because they've only got these tiles to choose from now. Now, you're really trying to think about upping your production and upping your storage, because when it gets to income, you are going to be getting the income at the top here based on the lowest cube. So you don't, if it's all the way up here for that one, you're still only getting 20 electro, whereas if you manage to get them both on here, you're going to be getting 70. So that's kind of how your income works. Right, so they're thinking, am I going to buy an extra? Well, they probably want a production. Yeah, let's go for this one. So that's going to cost them 7 minus the 3 is 4. And we will put our worker on there to show we've done that. So we've got 14 left to spend. Do we want another factory? We could squeeze in one of these optimization. I think that might be worth it. Let's do it. So we're going to spend all 14 because we get a free discount on this one as well. And we're going to put this. You can see the matching symbol goes up there. Put our worker on. We've got 1 spare dude. We've got no money, so we can't even afford a seasonal worker. And that is literally the end of the step 3, as they call it. We now move into bureaucracy and energy price. So we're going to turn over the top one, which in a start and play game, it recommends to shuffle all the others, put 0 at the top. So you've got 5 tiles, which represents 5 rounds. And you know that you're going to get a 0 on the first round, basically, so there's no runaway aspect to it. But as you get more experience, you can shuffle them. So the energy price here then starts on 1. We've increased it 0, so it's still going to be 1, and that'll make sense in a minute as to what we do there. So we will put these tiles back, and you can see on this sort of board here, it's actually got sort of an outline of what they are, but you can see all the robots and storage go in certain spots. So 17 there, where are we? Number 6 and number 8. And you can see, because we bought some, when it comes round to the next round, we'll have the chance to buy some better ones, or bring them out into the market, should I say. Now, where were we? So, we're in bureaucracy. Now, both players, I guess, could do this at the same time. Let's start with reds then. So you look at your factory, and you can start with, let's say, the production. So on the tiles, we've got a green, which means we're producing, which is great. So we've got 1 here. That's 2. We've got 3, so we are going to be bumping up our production to number 3. Now, you might not be able to see it in the camera, but if I sort of bring it a little bit closer, you got these sort of faint numbers on the board there, which shows the actual production level. And we then do the same for the storage. So we've got 1, 2, 3. We've got 3 storage, so we stay where we are. And then we do the energy. So we've got this little symbol at the end here, and it's in red, so that's the amount of energy it's going to take. So we've got 2, 4, we've got 5, 6, 7. Wow, we've got quite high consumption of energy. Now workers, you can equally see we've got a 2, so this requires 2 workers, whereas this one here is actually green, so that means it's gonna, that the robot is replacing 2 humans, shall we say. So we're going to be net better off for having that machine. So let's figure out what we've got. So we've got 2 workers there, 2 workers, that's 4 workers required, and we've got another 2 required to run this machine, that's 6. But these 2 robots are going to deduct 3, so we only need 3 workers in there. So all these remainder are now our available workers for next round. Those 3 dudes, rather than leaving them on the machines, they say just to put them in your canteen, because you're going to have these ones that gain you, or the robots are going to do the work for you. And just to remind you, you can't have more robots working than machines. You'd have to make them redundant and put one of these tokens at the top on them. So we have done the bureaucracy for them, guys. Over to these, we have what we got, 1 production, 2, 3 production, that's great. We've got 3 pallets, that's fine. Oh, we've got an extra production at the top there. And workers, we have got 2 required there, 2 there, so that's 4 workers required, that's fine. And the energy is 2, 4, 5 energy, but this one actually has a green energy, so that is cost efficient, that machine there, that optimization. So we're actually net 4, which is great. So we now go over to the distribute income, and how this has worked out is you look at your lowest token, shall we say, your lowest cube. These guys are on 30, and then so you're going to get 30 income. We then deduct your energy, so you're using 7 energy. The cost of energy per unit is 1, so that's 7 times 1 is 7. From the 30, the net gain is 23 electro. Not too bad. 23. So let's see how the yellows fared. So their lowest one is on the, why is that on a 40? Is that right? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's right. So they're equally getting 30, but they've got a lower electric cost. So 4 times the 1 is 4. From the 30 is 26, and every electro matters in this game. But also you got this balance of having the number of available workers, and that is literally 1 round. So the next round, just to remind you, you'll literally go, right, reveal 2 of these. Well, you'll shuffle these and reveal 2, and this is what we're bidding on, starting with the highest player number, because they were kind of last, and they go, okay, I want to bid 1 on that one. Next player, no, I'm happy with this one, so this goes here, these 2 go back. They're now 1 in 10, but these guys keep that available worker on there, and that's the cost having used it to bid. But they're going to be first. But these guys, even though, you know, they're going second in a 2-player game, they're getting a -4 reduction on things they purchased. So this is the number of available workers they're going into round 2, and you can see the difference already. These guys have got 2, 4, 5. These guys have got 2 because they're using more in the factory. These aren't, and these guys spent 1 on the available actions. And equally, the reds hired a seasonal worker, which is now the cost of doing so is going to benefit them in this round. And then literally we go to the, where are we, the market phase. So the starting player yellows would take 2 tiles in this case. The red, I'm only going to rush through this to cement how the round plays, and then I'll call it a day there. So then these guys would take 2, let's just say these 2. These guys would take 5, so let's just say these 5. And then yellows would have first dibs, say they buy these 2, add them to their thing. These guys take 5, or they can decide to, you know, trash one of these with a worker. They can hire workers at the end. And then literally you go back into bureaucracy and figure out all your numbers and where you are. You go back into income and you turn this over, increase your, yeah, it's always increase your energy price. And you keep going for 5 rounds until all of these have been exhausted. You will then have double income on your last round as well, which is quite nice. And that is pretty much the game. It's quite a dry one. It's quite mathy in places, but you're really trying to eke out the most from this factory, and it's a real battle off as to how you're going to bid one of these workers to win, starting player, which tiles, because that's massive, really. Even though these guys have got, say, a 4 reduction, these guys are going to get to pick which ones they want first, which is great. Anything else to know? Yes, you can have more robots. I've already said that you have to just make them unused, which is something to think about. There's one other thing in a higher player count game I should add, is that when you go into the picking the marketplace tiles, it says here in a 2-player game, which is why I haven't shown you today, is you can have additional factory tiles. So in, say, a 4-player game, the last player to go will, let's just say they had 2 available workers, they'll take 2 tiles, and they have to take those tiles for them to refresh the market for everyone. But they equally can have a choice to pick up to 2 more tiles if they want to. So a little quirk there. And that is it, folks. If you have a chance to play this one, give it a go. That's Power Grid Factory Manager. Enjoy.